Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Tim Stewart from Visual Decisions, and I've spent decades helping companies transform their operations using lean manufacturing and cutting-edge digital tools. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll explore data-driven leadership practices and how you can create a more agile, efficient, and resilient operation. Let's get started. Whether you're leading a team, managing operations, or making high-level decisions, today's session is all about helping you become a more effective, data-driven leader. Let's be honest, leading based on gut instinct alone isn't enough anymore. The best leaders use data to guide decisions, track performance, and drive improvements. But here's the thing, just having data isn't enough either. You need a structured way to use it in your leadership practices. And that's where leadership standard work, or LSW, comes in. It helps create routines that keep you focused on the right priorities, drive accountability, and make sure you're using data in a way that leads to action. So today we'll cover how to shift from gut-based decision-making to data-driven leadership, what leadership standard work is and how it helps create consistency, how to use data to track team performance and drive accountability, and the best tools and technologies to support data-driven leadership. By the end, you'll have some practical takeaways you can start using right away, whether you're leading a small team or an entire organization. So what is data-driven leadership? Let's start with a question. How does your leadership team make decisions today? Are they based on gut feelings and experience, or are they driven by data and measurable insights? Too often, leaders rely on intuition. Statements like, I just know what works. We've always done it this way. I trust my instincts. Now, experience matters, but consistent, scalable success requires data. Without it, decisions become subjective, inconsistent, and risky. So how do you shift from intuition-based to insights-based decision-making? Data-driven leaders identify trends and patterns that intuition might miss, make decisions based on evidence, not assumptions, and track the impact of leadership actions to improve over time. So how do leaders actually use the data? First of all, strategic thinking. Leaders should use data to guide long-term decisions by analyzing market trends, financial reports, and operational metrics rather than relying on what's worked in the past. For problem solving, instead of making assumptions, leaders use data to find root causes. If customer churn increases, data can pinpoint if it's due to pricing, service, or competition, so the right solution can be applied. For performance tracking, rather than judging team performance based on perception, leaders track key performance indicators, KPIs, like efficiency, customer satisfaction, and revenue, to make informed coaching decisions. Leaders also play a key role in fostering a data-driven culture. They do that by leading by example. If leaders don't use data, their teams won't either. Use dashboards, KPIs, and reports in daily decision-making and make that visible to the team. You make data accessible. Teams need clear, simple tools to analyze and apply data effectively. Confusing reports equals no action. Encouraging and rewarding data-driven thinking. Celebrate the employees who use insights to solve problems and make smart decisions. When data is a part of daily decision leadership conversations, performance reviews, and decision-making, it becomes a core part of how the organization operates. So let's recap. Shifting from intuition to insights leads to better, more predictable decisions. Using data strategically helps to solve problems, track performance, and adjust plans based on evidence, not guesswork. And fostering a data driven culture starts with the leaders by making the data visible, accessible, and actionable. Now that we understand excuse me for 1 second. Now that we've talked about data driven leadership, the next big question is, how do you make sure that the data driven decision making happens consistently day after day? That's where the leadership standard work comes in. Too often, leaders get caught up in the daily whirlwind, putting out fires, responding to urgent issues, and jumping from one meeting to the next. The result is no time for strategic thinking, coaching, or continuous improvement. Leadership standard work solves this problem by creating structured leadership routines that help ensure the most important activities happen consistently, not just when there's time. So, just like frontline employees follow standard operating procedures to maintain consistency and efficiency, leaders need structured routines to ensure they're focusing on the right priorities. Leadership standard work is a system that defines the daily, weekly, and monthly leadership activities that drive accountability, coaching, and continuous improvement. Think of it like a playbook for effective leadership, a framework that ensures leaders spend time on high value activities instead of just reacting to problems. Data driven decision making is built into the daily routines, and accountability is clear and consistent across the different teams. It helps to turn leadership into a disciplined process, ensuring the right actions happen at the right time every time. Many organizations struggle with inconsistent leadership behaviors. Some managers are great at coaching, and others focus on metrics, and some get stuck in that day to day firefighting. Without a clear system, leadership effectiveness varies widely and business performance suffers. So, leadership standard work fixes this by standardizing how leaders monitor and act on performance data so issues don't go unnoticed, coach and develop employees consistently instead of waiting for annual reviews, and drive continuous improvement by ensuring problem solving happens regularly. With leadership standard work in place, leaders move from being reactive to proactive, focusing on long term success rather than just short term firefighting. So, what are the core components of leadership standard work? It typically consists of three main elements. The first is daily, weekly, and monthly leadership routines. These are structured activities that ensure leaders stay engaged with their teams, track performance, and drive improvements. Examples of daily activities include Gemba walks, huddles, and quick KPI reviews. Weekly activities would include deeper performance check ins and coaching conversations. And then on a monthly basis, you do the strategy reviews and employee development discussions. The second key component is visual management and standardized metrics. Using dashboards, scorecards, real time data tracking, you ensure that decision making is based on facts and not opinions. And the third key element is accountability and continuous improvement. Holding leaders themselves and the teams accountable for results by ensuring problem solving, coaching, and strategic discussions happen regularly, not just when there's a crisis. So, to summarize, leadership standard work is a structured framework that ensures leaders focus on high impact activities consistently. It helps embed data driven decision making into those leadership daily routines. And it helps to eliminate reactive firefighting and creates proactive, accountable leaders. Now that we understand what leadership standard work is and why it's important, the next step is to make this actionable. So this section is all about implementation. How do we structure leadership standard work and data-driven decision making so that it supports that data-driven leadership, accountability, and continuous improvement? Let's start with how to build leadership standard work into the daily leadership routines to ensure data-driven decision making happens consistently. One of the biggest challenges leaders face is turning daily insights into action. We often collect data, review dashboards, and even recognize trends. But if there's no structured system for acting on those insights, they don't drive real change. And that's where the leadership standard work practices come in. They help leaders integrate those data driven decision making practices into their daily, weekly, and monthly routines, ensuring that the right actions happen at the right time every time. Without structured routines, it's easy for leaders to get caught up in firefighting, reacting to issues as they come up instead of proactively managing performance. So, we're trying to help leaders spend time on the high value leadership activities instead of just putting out the fires, regularly review metrics and trends to drive better decision making, make fact based leadership a habit, not just a one time initiative. Imagine a manufacturing plant where production managers only look at the defect rates once a quarter. By the time they see the problem, it's way too late. So the standard work helps make sure that leaders are checking data frequently and acting proactively. So, what does this actually look like? If we look at the daily leadership standard work routines, it includes things like morning huddles, Gemba walks to check performance metrics, and these should be done at a scheduled time every single day. Just put it on the calendar. A review of real time dashboards for critical KPIs and see where those are at and what actions need to be taken based upon that. And that leads to the quick issue identification and response to remove roadblocks for teams. This is where leaders get a pulse on performance, ensuring that they're making decisions based on what's actually happening, not just what they assume is happening. And the list can be longer than this. And if you reach out to me, I can give you a template that I've developed with different customers in the past, but these are just examples. Weekly activities would include deeper KPI reviews, tracking the trends, discussing constraints and roadblocks, coaching and feedback sessions. How do you help the teams improve using the data insights that you're seeing from the systems? And structured problem solving sessions, applying A3 thinking, root cause analysis, and other tools to make sure that those problems get addressed. So, this helps to ensure that leaders are addressing not just the symptoms of problems, but actually working on the root causes. At the monthly level, we want to do performance deep dives, reviewing monthly trends and strategic objectives and making sure that we're still in alignment. Looking at your own activities and adjusting those leadership strategies based on the real time business data. And then reviewing that continuous improvement funnel and make sure that the initiatives are based on long term insights. And this is where leaders shift from that daily execution to the big picture thinking, ensuring that the business strategy overall and real world performance stay aligned. So all of this helps to make data review a habit and not an afterthought. One of the biggest challenges in data driven leadership is that leaders often look at the data too infrequently, leading to missed opportunities or delayed responses to issues. And we're fixing that by ensuring that leaders check performance regularly, making sure it's happening on a daily basis at a structured time, embedding structured reflection on the metrics into those daily and weekly habits, and creating a rhythm of accountability so teams know data isn't just being collected, but it's actually being reviewed and utilized. So to summarize, leadership standard work helps to ensure that leaders don't just react to problems, they proactively manage performance. You build daily, weekly, and monthly leadership routines to help integrate data-driven decision making into everyday leadership, and create structured habits so that data is consistently reviewed and acted upon rather than just sitting in reports. Next, we'll look at how leadership standard work and data work together to drive accountability and improve performance. One of the biggest challenges in leadership is ensuring consistent performance management. Without a system in place, accountability often becomes reactive. Leaders address issues only when they become a major problem. We solve this by embedding performance management into daily leadership activities, ensuring that the leaders are using data consistently to track progress, to set clear expectations for the teams. And that's extremely important. And then create structured feedback loops for improvement. And let's explore 3 ways that this drives accountability and high performance. First of all, setting clear expectations. One of the main reasons that accountability fails is that the expectations are unclear. If employees don't know exactly what success looks like, how can they be held accountable? So with leadership standard work, you have to define the key performance indicators that matter, make the expectations visible and measurable, and then regularly reinforce what good performance looks like. You have to hold regular data-driven reviews to track progress. One key component is making sure that leaders and teams review that performance data regularly, not just during periodic reviews. With leadership standard work, that performance tracking happens at all levels. You have daily check-ins. Leaders review that real-time performance dashboard and have quick fact-based discussions and daily huddles. And those should be happening one-on-one during Gemba walks, and they should be happening with the entire team as well. Immediate course corrections can be made to fix small issues before they grow. So instead of waiting for the monthly reports, this ensures that leaders are checking and acting on performance data every single day. With the weekly performance meetings, leaders and teams are analyzing the trends. Where are we excelling? Where are we falling short? You do root cause analysis to identify patterns behind the missed targets. Why are these things occurring? And utilizing 5 why and other types of root cause analysis to really get to those root causes. And then team accountability discussions. Who needs support and what actions are going to be taken? Then you create structured feedback and coaching loops as well. One of the most overlooked aspects of performance management is coaching. Too often, employees only receive feedback when something goes wrong or at an annual review. With leadership standard work, coaching becomes a routine and not a reaction. So how this works is that you have daily observations and recognitions. Leaders reinforce good behaviors immediately. On a weekly basis, you can have one-on-one data-driven performance discussions. Then on a monthly basis, you have development planning, aligning the personal growth of your people with the business goals. So just as an example, instead of an annual performance review where you feel like you get surprised every time, leadership standard work ensures that employees receive regular, small coaching moments, leading to higher engagement and faster skill development. This helps to remove fear from accountability. Employees know exactly where they stand and what they need to do to improve. So to recap this section, leadership standard work ensures performance management happens daily, weekly, and monthly, so no one is guessing how they're doing. Regular data-driven reviews create clear expectations and measurable accountability. And frequent feedback and coaching turn accountability into a growth opportunity, not a punishment. So, next, we'll talk about how leadership standard work and data come together to drive problem solving and continuous improvement. One of the common mistakes that leaders make is waiting too long to address problems or solving the wrong problems because they don't have the right data and they haven't defined the problem correctly. Leadership standard work helps to prevent this by ensuring that problem solving is built into the leadership routines, not just something that happens when there's a crisis. So let's look at three ways that this helps the standard work and the data work together to drive continuous improvement. First is proactively identifying problems using data, then applying structured problem solving methods, and then embedding continuous improvement into those daily leadership routines. So, most problems don't suddenly appear overnight, they develop over time. But without consistent data review, leaders don't always see the warning signs. With data driven leadership and leadership standard work, leaders review those key metrics regularly, which helps them spot the trends before they become full blown issues, identify small process inefficiencies that add up over time, and focus on solving real problems, not just symptoms. Then, once a problem is identified, the next challenge is solving it effectively. And too often, leaders jump straight to solutions without fully understanding the issue and defining the problem correctly and doing proper root cause analysis. So, leadership standard work prevents this by embedding structured problem solving methods into leadership routines. Some of the common problem solving tools used in leadership standard work, and this is not a comprehensive list at all. Plan, do, check, act, a simple cycle for testing and improving processes. A3 thinking, a structured approach to defining, analyzing, and solving problems. And then 5 why analysis for digging deeper to find the root cause of an issue. And I should say to find the root causes of an issue. And then embedding continuous improvement into those daily leadership routines. The final piece of the puzzle is making sure that problem solving and improvement aren't just one time events, they're ongoing. With standard work, leaders integrate continuous improvement by holding those daily huddles to identify the small improvement opportunities, encouraging employees to bring data driven insights to those discussions, and then reviewing progress on previous improvements to sustain the gains. This happens because improvement is built into those daily leadership habits, not just handled reactively. So, to summarize this section, leadership standard work helps leaders identify problems before they escalate using real data. You have structured problem solving methods, and those help to ensure leaders fix the root causes, not just symptoms. And continuous improvement becomes part of the leadership routines, leading to sustained gains. Next, we'll discuss how leadership standard work and data align with the overall business strategy, ensuring that leadership routines drive not just operational improvements, but long-term success. So, one of the challenges that organizations face is misalignment between the activities and the strategic goals. Without clear alignment, leaders get caught up in daily execution and lose sight of those long term objectives. Data is tracked, but not connected to the business outcomes. And improvement efforts are disconnected from company wide priorities. When there is alignment between strategy and activities, daily actions contribute directly to the business goals. Data driven leadership supports the key strategic decisions, and leaders stay focused on what actually moves the business forward. So, again, we'll break this down into 3 key ways that we help leadership work align with strategy. The first is using leading and lagging indicators to drive strategic decisions, ensuring that leadership routines are connected to business priorities, and creating that culture of strategic accountability. So, one of the best ways to align daily leadership activities with business strategy is to track both leading and lagging indicators. Lagging indicators tell us what already happened, things like revenue, profitability, customer satisfaction scores, first pass yield, etc. Leading indicators tell us what's likely to happen next. Things like pipeline health, certain aspects of production cycle time, and employee engagement scores. Leadership standard work helps embed leading indicator reviews into their daily and weekly standard work. This helps to ensure that proactive problem solving and real-time adjustments are made. Are based on predictive insight, not just historical. By making leading indicators part of leadership standard work routine, leaders ensure that they're staying ahead of potential risks and opportunities. Ensure a common mistake in leadership is focusing on the wrong things, activities that feel urgent but do not contribute to the company's strategic direction. Leadership standard work helps to solve this by ensuring that leadership routines are designed to reinforce top business priorities. To do this, we translate business objectives into daily leadership actions. For example, if a customer retention is a priority, then include a weekly review of churn data in leadership standard work. To ensure that KPIs are consistent at every level of leadership, connect to broader company goals, and use tiered meetings to create alignment from frontline leaders to executives. Another challenge in leadership is making sure accountability goes beyond just individual performance. Without strategic accountability, leaders focus on hitting short-term metrics, even if they don't align with the company goals. There's no consistent process for reviewing and adjusting strategy. Employees don't understand how their work impacts big picture success. With accountability embedded into leadership, strategic accountability embedded into leadership standard work, leaders consistently review progress on strategic goals. Adjustments are made in real time, not just at quarterly meetings. And everyone from the shop floor to the executive team knows how their work contributes to success. So, to summarize, first of all, when door-to-door salesmen come by, your dog is going to bark and go crazy. But other than that, leadership standard work aligns those daily leadership activities with the strategic goals of the operation, helping to ensure that leaders focus on what truly matters. You track leading and lagging indicators to make proactive data-driven decisions, and leadership routines become structured to reinforce business priorities and drive long-term success. And that's how we bridge the gap from day-to-day execution and long-term strategy. With this foundation in place, the next step is understanding what tools and technologies can support leadership standard work and data-driven leadership. So just very briefly, I'm going to lay out a few tools here, but this is by no means comprehensive. One key tool is business intelligence dashboards for real-time decision-making. The BI dashboards can provide real-time visibility into those key metrics. Leaders can use those dashboards in their daily, weekly, and monthly leadership standard work routines. And best practices ensure that data is actionable, not just collected. Data visualization tools for leadership standard work reviews. These are a bit more specialized, and the visualization trends to support problem solving is critical. Tools like heat maps and Pareto charts and control charts help leaders focus on the right priorities. And then using scorecards and tiered meetings to reinforce that accountability. AI, automation, and predictive analytics can help enhance that leadership effectiveness. AI can identify patterns and forecast issues before they happen, and automation can play a key role in streamlining repetitive tasks, such as automated reports, alerts, and things like that. And then some of the digital tools for tracking and standardizing leadership routines. Digital platforms can help leaders follow their standard work consistently. There are tracking tools such as workflow apps, task management, and checklists, and ensure that digital tools enhance rather than replace leadership engagement. And this isn't even touching on the shop floor applications that gather those KPI data from the shop floor, such as IoT, video analytics, MES, and many, many others. So we've covered a lot today, from understanding data-driven leadership to implementing leadership standard work and leveraging technology to support it. But as we wrap up, let's focus on the most important question. What can you do next to start applying this in your own leadership approach? This final section will provide a quick recap of key insights and some actionable steps to help you put these concepts into place. So let's take a step back and quickly review the major takeaways from today's session. First of all, data-driven leadership is essential for modern decision-making. Leadership standard work brings structure and consistency to leadership. Leadership standard work and data must be integrated together for that long-term success. And technology can support, but it does not replace leadership work. You still have to meet with the team. You still have to do the coaching. It should just be more data-based. So the big takeaway is that effective leadership isn't about reacting. It's about structuring leadership work in a way that continuously drives improvement and strategic success. Before we wrap up, I just want to thank you all for joining in today's session. We've covered a lot, and I hope you're walking away with some new insights and actionable strategies to apply in your leadership role. Please, let's connect. If you would like to learn more about how to implement digital standard work for your organization, contact me for more details through any of the methods on the screen. The QR code will take you to the Visual Decisions website for more information. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in future sessions.